All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Where the fuck am I going? Who the hell could I be? All this time I've been lost. Missile trapped in the seat. Chains holding my legs. I just want to be free. This pick in my throat. Hell yeah, they know it. Their tears keep going. You can see it in my phenotypes and that damn Indian showing. This knowledge keeping me steady. 45 on my hip and my armor man stay ready. I hit the streets in my Chevy. Blunt burners for smoking heavy, man. You know I got fitted. Prayers up for what's in it. In the land of Lost City. Cause every nigga ain't feeling. And every man ain't feeling. Man, no D-Bows was spelling. No heroes for my family. What a pigs killing us daily, baby. This is what we invaders. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. This is what we invaders. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Where the fuck you come from? Kidnapping our paper, for 11 million of portions. Whole country is scorching. Baby stealing my portion. Bitch, give me my land back. We signed no contracts. We wasting all of our trust funds. We don't know who your daddy is, but we know who your kid is. Take the food off of my plate. Leave that shit through my phone.
Invaders. Motherfucking invaders.
All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. This is what we all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Hey, all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. This is what we all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises.
Open up the heavens, let the sunshine in. That took the tears and efforts. I'm about to begin. Giving love to all the ancestors that's tuning in. Here comes the tears with some more offering up to the whole man. I'm some shit and I'm Chickasaw, Choctaw, Wichita, Blackfoot. I'm the 97 on the slow. He can know me, the whole he is cold. She can come to the store. Crown of the whole man. I'm talking shit and I'm Chickasaw, Choctaw, Wichita, Blackfoot. I'm the 97 on the slow. He can know me, the whole he is cold. She can come to the store. Crown of the whole. It's like an eagle, more like a stinging bee. Ancestors is hot, right inside me. I'm what I did, dynasty, live inside me. It's work, make for greatness. And while natural style, rain desert under the moon, I threw the pearly gates, escape from Spain to Panama. We still ahead of y'all, never racing, just go pacing to the top of the zone. We stand tall, y'all, never lazy, I'm talking shit, I'm a little petite, but never retreat. AK is don't go talk, y'all. Chopper riding, we awake, very screaming, beat, beaming, bloodshot, lightsaber walker, walk talker, never stop. Oh man, I'm talking shit, and I'm niggas all talk, watch it talk. Blackfoot, I'm a 97 on the soul, keep it on me, the whole B is OG. I'm a super proud of the whole man. I'm talking shit, and I'm niggas all talk, watch it talk. Blackfoot, I'm a 97 on the soul, keep it on me, the whole B is OG. Coming through the store, proud of the whole job in the Tiger City block, big buffalo. People coming expect shot, pop them out and pop, can't stop the reverse for raw. Indigenous rock whip, then they the chance, man, rice. War bands, at a glance, anyone who glance at the chef for war bands, war bands, she's 7 cuts out, the Moorish go out, we hold before the amendment, rappers don't rap the south, where compass and trial, masons taking notes, disrespecting ancestors, selling their souls to close, so wait for my glass, make a toast, to aboriginal folks, traveling through the cosmos, that's both me and that's on time, I think the need, bandage up, Black Hawk, what's up, side of most go, we taking it back from the tomb of the bones, women coming in the rooms, every time Black Hawk, I'm talking shit and hot, she can talk, I should talk, Blackfoot, I'm a 97 on the stove, he can know me, the whole thing is gold, she can nothing to restore, crown of the whole, I'm talking shit and hot, she can talk, I should talk, Blackfoot, I'm a 97 on the stove, he can know me, the whole thing is gold, she can nothing to restore, crown of the whole, the heavens let the sunshine in, is an empress. I'm about to begin. Giving love to all the ancestors that's tuning in. Here comes the kids with the offering.
Peace. You already know what this is. This is Ahanu, aka A1, aka the Autonomous One, from the Saudi region, Wanya, or whatever was my tribe before I was classified as colored or Negro. Okay. Back putting in more work as usual. Just left from interviewing like 10 people, man. Like, yo, this shit is phenomenal, yo. Phenomenal. I swear to God, bro. Every time I do it, man, I something in my soul feel enlightenment, man. I feel enlightenment. Every time I ask one of these ladies or these older individuals what tribe of Indians they got, they just light up and tell me, man. It's not even a secret. They all know. All of them. They all know. They all fucking know. They just needed somebody to wake and sit back up in them. You understand what I'm saying? Look, man, this shit is so fucking easy now to where, like I said, I was just in Walmart, right? So, boom, I'm talking to one lady, but I see another lady. I just, you know, I can tell sometimes Black Americans, sometimes I have to ask, sometimes I can't tell. But for the most part, I can tell. I ask lady, which tribe of Indian you got? Oh, my God, Cherokee. That's another lady. Which tribe? Everybody is saying they Cherokee. The majority of the people I'm fucking interviewing say they Cherokee. The majority of people. And like I said, man, it's gonna take further research to really put it in. But look, man, I'm out there doing the data analysis. I'm collecting data. I'm not making just videos. I'm not just looking at articles and comparing them. I'm doing the actual fucking data. I'm doing research in the field. Everybody that I ask, I write down, and I just talk down as a number, in which, like I said, I'm gonna probably do the percentages, but the percentages is in the high 90s, my dude. The percentages amongst the people who I interview is in the high 90s. Okay. Now, when I say the high 90s, they all don't have to know what tribe they from, but all they have to know is that they Indian. That's it. That's it. That's it. And most of the people who I run across be either alcoholics or they have some type of substance abuse problem. So, you know, for the most part, man, we already know what it is. Look, before I start this video, we're gonna play this. I'm gonna play a clip. A quick clip of this other thing of the Indian slavery. Then I'm gonna get right into the DNA. I just want y'all to hear what this older black guy was saying. I'm gonna play this, and then we're gonna get right into it. All right. So just bear with me, y'all. Give me a second. Make sure I'm. Let me see. Am I being heard? Let me make sure I'm being heard. Press one if you guys can truly hear me. It's wonderful. Let me see something. What's going on? Can you guys hear me? No. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check 1, 2. Okay, all right, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. We up in this motherfucker. You already know what it is. We up in this motherfucker once again. The Aborigines, the Tonchons of North America, who've been classified as colored and Negro, have been deceived through numerous mind control experiments. Okay? So let's get into this shit, man. Peace to y'all, man. Peace, 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 peace. All right, so we're back at the Brown University joint. I'm going to hook this up real quick. Let me see. Hold up, y'all. Hold up. I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna share the screen. Y'all can't see. Hold up. All right, so this is the brother right here. Listen to what he say is. Listen to what the elders say. I mean, y'all can hear it, right? Mike said, can y'all hear it? I mean, before I go, I just want to make sure you guys can hear it. Very low. Can y'all can hear something though, right? All right, you know what? We're gonna do something different. Give me a second, y'all. Just give me a second. All right, not really. Okay, all right. Give me a second. Just give me a second. I'm gonna put it on my big computer. Just let me open it up. But the elder was saying he was part of the Choctaw. This is the straight Negro, right? He said, and he was Wapanaki, right? Matter of fact, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna play it on my phone. Hold up. I'm gonna put it. Let me know if you guys can hear it. I want you guys just to hear this, man. When you get a chance, go check out the video. Hold on, just bear with me, man.
On the list where it was, and it's a list of universities on a lot of history. Whether it's
Also, a question over there.
I don't have a question. I actually want to say, like, to beyond what we, the people that have, and just.
Hold on.
Let's also acknowledge that there's a great deal of history that we're all bringing into the space.
So we have
So
120.
anything that is being shared from the space of music or cinematography or humanity. Yeah.
Chorus and.
All right, here we go. Now, let me play this thing. It's only about a couple minutes. All right. You guys should be able to hear it now. Let me see. Let me play it.
Reconnect with the heritage of my family. I had to go through a number of records. What I found within my family on the Choctaw side is that we had a lot of names we considered at that time Christian names. We didn't realize what the importance of them were. When I came along in the Black movement, joined the Black movement, we had this move to they call Pan-African names. And my great-grandmothers, both on both sides of my mother's side and on my father's side, were very upset about it. That's, well, we have these Christian names, this white man saying we're not going to do that stuff. I'm changing all my children's names to this, that, and the other. They just go, no, you can't do that. And they really could not clearly explain it to me until I got to this point here, 30 years later. I'm doing my genealogical research and I realized those names were the names of the ancestors that they had taken on. The reason they had taken on, and so to the memory of those ancestors like Annie or Mariah or Glenn, many children down the line, those very same names, and that's how we were able to trace back who we actually were. The reason the names were changed is because what's missing here is the fact that, as opposed to the African slave, the Native Americans had bounties on their heads. We were cash cows for the settlers, for the invaders here. So, hence the name Redskins. Those Redskins had bounty on those skins. So, as a survival technique, we had to change our names. We had to believe it. They came along the census takers who took us from Indian to Negro, and from Negro to mulatto, and now Black and African American, wipe out the very memory of us being here, so that there's no claim to the land by our people. Thank you, sir. Come to the end now.
So,
Yo, you said drop the link for the video. All right. Hold up. I'm jumping in the chat. No, I'm just saying that's some deep shit what the brother just said, right? I'm copying onto what's the name. All right, the video's right here. That's some deep shit what the brother just said. And like I said, why is it that, I don't know about none of this stuff. My research wasn't triggered for me to have the same opinions of people that's telling you the same shit that I'm telling you guys. They're telling you the same. I put the link in it. They're telling you the same shit that I'm telling you. Now let's get into this DNA thing. All right, let's get into this shit. Because I got a video about the DNA already. But we're going to get into it, right? So I want you to, hold on, let me see. Is it this one? All right, it's this article right here. Boom. So this is from a lady named Rebecca Skloot. Okay, I guess that's how you pronounce her name, right? And basically, this is what she had to say, right? So it say the bogus of DNA testing for genealogy research. Right? At this point, pretty much if everyone knows there are companies out there promising to unlock the secrets of ancestry and through your DNA, aka genealogy. If you send them the DNA from a simple swab from your cheek and a great sized chunk of money, they'll test your DNA and tell you, among other things, what stock you came from, European, East Asian, or African, right? Etc. Right? Several years ago, when these companies first started surfacing, I looked at some of their claims and thought that sounds sketchy. From what I knew about DNA testing, it seems that like tests were like, I mean, it seems like these tests were a scam. So I wrote an article for Popular Science investigating whether this technology and therefore the companies offering it was legit. I put together a panel of expert geologists in DNA testing, including one of the scientists who first discovered the technology of many of these companies based on their tests. I had a DNA test along with the DNA. Let me open this up a little bit. I'm sharing in my office. Hold on. All right, boom, there, go right there. So let me see. I had my DNA tested along with the DNA of 6 of my family members to see if the test could uncover something you'll never know from looking at me. My grandfather and great grandmother was black. Okay, the company offering the test assured me if that was true, their test will find it. So I ran the test. I had my panel of experts investigate the results. Then wrote the story. Okay, it said explaining the science of these tests. It's saying what they did and didn't find in my family tree, and what the experts say about the legitimacy of it all. Their conclusion of mine, these tests can be for fun. Their conclusion of mine, these tests can be for fun. Their conclusion for mine, these tests can be for fucking fun. And they have some definite use in medical research, but they simply cannot tell you anything definitely about your heredity unless you're testing your DNA and comparing it to someone else to find if you're related, okay? These tests most certainly can't tell you what you're not, and it as in you're not African American, okay? All right, so it's saying, but the general public doesn't know this, and no one seems to be telling them that. More and more of these companies are popping up. The popularity of these tests have soared. Every month or so, a journalist like the guy today writes yet another story about how people are using technology to unlock family secrets and debunk family tales, even though it simply does not work that way. The upshot of the so many of these stories is that people are being confused and traumatized. It's a result of these tests. People of dark skin who came from black families and identify themselves as African Americans are suddenly being told they are not African Americans at all. People have sort of psychotherapy over these results and the question their family, but this is all based on science that can't actually say you're not African American, and most certainly can't say you're not Caucasian, and therefore should qualify minor scholarship and affirmative action. Okay, now like I said, the motherfuckers who claim that they know everything, they don't source check shit, and they don't believe shit. Motherfuckers like, you know what, man? I'm sorry for keep cussing, man, but it's like, yo, it's like I guess the people, some of us, we have to be intelligent beyond our years, man. Because you got people, you explain simple shit to them and they just can't understand it. You just can't understand. I'm explaining to the nigga yesterday about jurisdiction, right? Jurisdiction means dominion and control. Them are synonyms, and when you look at the definition of what it's going to tell you, it basically boils down to dominion and control over oneself. Okay? Nigga arguing me the elements of a crime. The 3 elements of a crime is an injury to a person, an injury to a person property, or an act of theft. The state itself cannot generate laws and enforce the laws with their public servants. Their public servant is not supposed to be biased. But when you go into a court, well, let's say, for example, it's something like a drug matter. Who generates the drug matter? Is there a person who filed a complaint, or is the state filing a complaint? The state is the one filing the complaint. The state can't be party to the proceeding. What is party to the proceeding? What's proceeding? The proceeding is the court process. The judge, the clerk, the bailiff, and everybody else that works in the motherfucking courtroom is paid and is paid and employed by the state. The state make these statutory laws in which they enforce and have their people enforce. And you in the court, you in the court where you ain't gonna win because these people are put there to make sure that doesn't happen. So you have to argue the elements of the matter while you're there if you want to go about that way. That's just one of the ways to do it. So you're saying that, all right, so what is the element of the crime? Are you saying I committed a crime? Okay, so if I committed a crime, with the person who has the complaint against me, please stand up. The prosecutor cannot stand up if she's not how you say it, the prosecutor going to stand up, but there's not going to be a plaintiff because the plaintiff is the motherfucking is the state, which is a corporation. A corporation can't file a complaint on a real person. But you forgot they got you in a corporate status. So when niggas sit here and talk, oh, the Moors, hey, don't listen to the Moors. Keep saying you're Pan-African. Go over there with them rat-eating motherfuckers and keep saying you're Pan-African. Go over there with them and watch what happens. Them niggas gonna have your ass. They gonna be roasting your ass. You gonna go over there and when shit hit the fan, they gonna be eating your ass like they eating them rats. All right, so don't get me wrong. I'm completely in favor of DNA testing. That deep down, we're all the same. The black, white, and tan. We're all in mismatch in genes and race. The social construction, not genetic one. What I'm not in favor of these companies using the fact along with public with public undering curiosity about ancestry to make promises that can't keep. Like, we'll help you find long lost relatives. While turning good sides of profit and delivering results of cause mass confusion. The journalists helping them to do it. So this is a link right there, which says bots science. Hold on, let me see something. This is the link right here. Let me see something. Hold on, because there was another link that she had up here. These are all different links. Let me see something. All right, hold on. Let me see something. Let's hold on. Let me click on this. No, not that. Hold on. Yeah, this one bots. But let me see something. All right, so these are some of the comments. Hold on. No, this is not hard. But I just said insight of what the young lady was saying, right? So this is the other article, which I show all the time. And let me see. Let me see what I want to start. I got a lot of reading to do, so I want to just sum it down because the other article is pretty lengthy. All right, so for American citizens, quintessential melting pot, the quest for identity often propels older people. It is interesting that we often search for our dead relatives while looking death square in the face. To list the immigrants into Ellis Island, it's saying, or other ports of entry in the United States. The repository of geology in Salt Lake City. It also leads unwary seekers of the past right into the hands of a scam artist who claim that they can trace anyone's DNA back to its source. Anyone who spare $100 to $900 can buy a DNA kit. Self-collection of DNA required only a quick swab of an inside of the mouth and gather the cheek cell. All right? It's saying male, no, it's saying male that smears back, and the company will then compare your DNA with various other samples. Okay? It said, but the claims that the analysis the claims that the analysis will tell you, will tell you much about where you came from are downright fraudulent. Are anthropologists, okay? So I'm not an anthropologist. These goofy niggas who take DNA tests, they're not anthropologists. Okay? I'm not an anthropologist. But this young lady right here is, okay, Deborah Baldnick. Okay, now I've done videos on this already. She's from the University of Texas of Austin. And it's saying, and 14 co-authors recently reported, okay? So it's not just her by herself, it's 14 other co-authors. It says instead of tracing your genetic past, what we'll get is a scientific scan, okay? It said, it sure look like science, says archaeologist, anthropologist Jonathan Marks. Of the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. One of the authors of the studies, well, it is science. It's done by scientists, and it's done by DNA samples, and it produced real data, okay? It's saying, but Mark point out, these companies are preying on public because they simply don't have enough comparative information to pinpoint genes on a world map. They might match your DNA in some groups on a continent, but what they don't tell you is you probably also match with other groups next door if only they had some of their samples as well. The most insidious, more insidious, these companies pretend to trace your unique ancestry through mitochondrial DNA, but it's simply not possible. A few hundred years, a few generations, and every person's history is a genetic mismatch. One little gene is going to inform anybody about anything. As Mark put it, that's the beauty of this scam. The companies aren't scamming you. They're not giving you fraudulent information. They're giving you data, real data, and allowing you to scam yourself. Humans have, in fact, turned the whole world into a large genetic melting pot. It's saying we have always been a species that crossed mountains, continents, oceans. We have always loved to mate outside of our ancestry group. If you want to know who you are, it's saying look in the mirror. It's saying written on your face is countless generations that survive to reproduce. And the only thing you can realistically do at this point is thank them and then move forward. All right, so that's pretty much from that article. But they're telling you that they can't trace genetics, man. And I got a video that got like almost 100,000 views that's telling you the same thing, in which I go more in depth with it. And you got scientists that's telling you this shit themselves. Common sense will tell you this shit, and these niggas don't even know. They believe what scientists tell them. You look, DNA is going to be a compound of different organisms in which the body is compounded of. Okay, meaning, like I said, you might have different genetic similarity. You could have a genetic similarity to somebody on a whole other continent. You know what I'm saying? Outside of Africa, but they're not testing you with that. They're testing you where they want you to be from, West Africa. Okay. Now, you heard the white lady. She said she got two black parents. I mean, her grandfather was black, and her great grandmother was black. So why the DNA didn't pick that up? Because the shit is a fucking scam. Unless you, I really didn't understand her point, whether she told them that or whether, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand what the point of it was, but I think that they fixed that to the point. They fixed that to make it sound more compelling. Like, so they fixed it to tell you what you want to know. So basically, they are fraudulent and they are fucking lying to you. All right, so let's get into this, man. Well, now, hold up. This is Let me see. I'm looking for this fucking article. There you go. All right, so this is the article I got out of www.indigenousamerican.com. Check the website out. It does have some type of it does have truth to it. I don't agree with everything that's being presented in this article, but we're gonna read through it and try to sort through as much as we can. All right, so the title is Genetic Analysis. All right. So it's the Harvard African American Study Professor Henry Lou Gates, script writer, is saying of television show Finding Your Roots. It's saying reports the average African American is 65% sub-Saharan African, Black African south of the sub-Saharan desert, 29% of European, and 2% Native American. Professor Gates' research may be true if the statement is translated to say what constitute Native American genetic ancestry if indigenous black-skinned people were in the Americas 45,000 to 56,000 BCE, and the Mongoloid people who crossed the Bering Straits, according to him, 12,000 years BC. All right. So Gates' research is based on a statistical information and not archaeology, linguistics, and cranial metric data. Population genetic studies lack any definite data to support the genetic data. Winters 2016, the research is based on haplogroups, consistencies of groups of populations in which Eurocentric history studies continually divine as mankind. All right, so we're gonna get to this. All right, like I had this article before. I just didn't want to read all this shit though, but this shit is very interesting. All right, so let's do it. The same information may be present throughout the website under the term determined DNA just for reinforcement purposes. Genetic ancestry DNA test for cell use statistical testing and measure lineage and family history. Regarding the personal relatives, the ancestry test measures maternal and paternal lines of descendants and living in a geographic regions, e.g., West Africa, Europe, East Asia, and the Americas. Well known are considered central in the colonial era population movement. Blanket definition: people came from Europe, black people came from Africa, Native Americans came from America, and yellow people came from Asia. Now we know all that's bullshit. It was black people in all them places, unless a person is familiar with history. It's saying a bias. A bias is created. It basically created separating ancestry into social political groups. Knowledge of diversity and genetic contribution of ancestry population in other parts of the world, e.g., East Africa, etc. It's an Iberian Peninsula. Okay, it's saying become limited if a person does not know historical outlines. For instance, those in the Iberian Peninsula of Europe, southern Italy, Portugal, and Spain were invaded and ruled by Moors for over 800 years in 1711. Now, like I don't teach that. Them people was already there. That's the story that they're telling you. They want you to believe these people. And them people been there. They never came from nowhere. It wasn't the Europeans that was there now. They wasn't there originally, I don't believe. I believe that the more they either brought them people there or these people tried to invade and they captured them. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so don't quote me 100%. I've heard many theories, which no one has the same theory unless they regurgitating something that somebody say. Like I like to listen to different perspectives and summarize this shit of what I understand. Okay. All right. So It said today Moors are referred to as Muslims. The note in North Africa, beginning labeled Caucasians. The people of the regions were once referred to as Hamanic and Swarty in color rather than say African DNA. I need to ask this. Hold up. No, I'm gonna call him back. I can't video over. All right. I'll call him back after the video. All right, so it said Hermetic, Swarty in color rather than say African DNA. Mexican inhabited Spain in 1519. So here we go again. It's saying the Limbo Jews of South Africa carry the Cohen metal haplotype CMH at a frequency higher than found in Jewish population, modern day Israel. It's saying, it's saying the Khazari, the Atkins and Jew. I never can pronounce that word, but I guess that's the Khazari. Khazari is another what's the other Khazari? It said Jews did not come into existence until the 6th century AD. The two district Jew groups living in Palestine and Hadad, North Africa, and the Jews of East Europe in Lamba clan, known as Bubba clan. 53% of the males carry the unique DNA signature of the Jewish priest. The Limba carried a DNA sequence that is distinctive to the Koranian, a hereditary set of Jewish priests. More than half of the men in Limba elite family contains the same genetic marker on the Y chromosome as the ones found in the study of Kohanim, males, Jews who claim to have been descendants of the Jewish priest of Aaron, brother of Moses. The average person doubled their number of ancestry with each generation because everyone has two parents. They're saying they're going back 10 generations between 200 and 300 years in the person's genealogy. That's 1,000, 2,400 ancestors. Going back further, each of us has more ancestors than we have a section of DNA, which means that there are many ancestries from whom we have inherited no DNA. Genetic connection to historical ethnicity groups like Vikings and Zulus may be vague. People genetically do not reflect specific groups. Human history involved an incredible amount of migration, meaning thousands of possible versions of genealogy. The principal theory accepted the American historian states the first Americans arrived in a single wave across the Bering Strait in 12,000 years ago. All right, so all Native American population today descend from this one group. It's saying, how can Native Americans be the first Americans when they have no previous civilization, artifacts, or history until the 12,000 BC in America? Winters 2003, the physical anthropologists have never accepted the Clovis view because skeletons have been found throughout the American continent far older than 12,000 BC. Okay, plenty of genetic evidence exists of the African presence in America, which we already know. African just mean black people was already here because they're trying to cover this shit up. Okay, the African presence in America is saying one must go away from the big idea that Africans left Africa 60,000 years ago. There were other migrations out of Africa. For example, the Khoisan is saying who founded the Grimaldi culture in Europe left Africa 40,000 years ago. The Pygmy, who were usually referred to as the Anu, left Africa between 20 and 15,000 years ago. The Pygmy people, as evidence of their presence in the continent, has an extensive civilization in the past, even though they are hunter-gatherers today. There is no way the first Americans could have came from Asia because the barren passage between Asia and the American continent did not become passable until 12,000 years ago. But as early as 4,000 years ago, there was American communities in South America. Research points to the first Americans to settle in America was the Khoisan, which I'm not going with that. It was already people here. It said the sign would have carried the mtDNA haplogroup into the Americas. The major American lineages A, B, and C, it said, are all descendants from haplo 8GN. Right? The genetic analysis back up skeleton studies suggests that the group of Amazon rainforest share common ancestry with indigenous Australians and New Guineans. It's saying, but not one, but two groups migrated across Asia and Australian continents to give rise to the first Americans living in the west part of North Central and South America, 45,000, 56,000 years BC. When Columbus arrived in the New World in 1492, he found what they call Africans. Merchants were trading goods and living in America as Amerindians. Among Lawrence 1962, other European explorers and colonists were shocked to find black-skinned people previously settled in America. Lawrence 1962 through 1987, it's a Quarteridge. 1889, it's saying I can't pronounce Ruffin-Sequoia. It said the Americas were home to the youthful Negro continent. So I guess that's the source of winners. All right. So let's get further into this. It says first, the oldest skeleton remains in America are black-skinned people. The Olmec mound builders, Mayans, had over a 56,000 year history in the Americas. Artifact castles. It's a artifact castle. Where the castles at? Temples. Look, astrology, surgery, and pyramid mounds structures was left behind as evidence. But once again, the American people were referred to as Redskin Americans, Redskin American Indians. Mayan skeletons with sickle cell anemia has been found. Kinship occurrence exists between the African language and Native American family language. Now remember, he's saying African. I don't believe that, and I believe that a lot of these languages came from here and actually proceeded over this. See people going over there and they coming back over here. That's why I want to ask Clive Winters a couple questions, because Africans couldn't have taught the people over here how to build it, because we look at the Africans coming here because they claim that they have pyramids. But if the pyramids was already built when the so-called Africans come here, what the fuck did they really teach them? Nothing. We taught them if that's the way it went. Maybe we went over there and they learned. But if we taught West Africans, why the fuck West Africans don't have no castles, don't have temples or no fucking observatories like I showed you like 3 videos ago. All right. But it said that the Mayan skeletons had sickle cell anemia, my dude. All right. Bajan, California studies indicates that the initial settlement of American continents was driven by Southeast Indians who occupied Australia 60,000 years ago and expanded into America 13,500 years ago. Prior to the Mongoloid people arriving in Northeast Asia about 12,000 years ago, the Negrito Oceanic tribe currently inhabit Malaysia, Indonesia, and New Guinea, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Papua, and Australia has been evident in existence dates of 60,000 years ago. Archaeologists have found sites from Canada to Chile that range between 20,000 and 40,000 years old. These sites are the Old Crow Basin, 38,000 years BC. It's saying in Canada, the Oreganda cave, 36,000 BC. In the U.S., it's saying in the Pedro Florida, 45,000 BC. The oldest inhabitants of South America before the ice melted at the Bering Strait and moved north as the ice melted. At one time, America was a Negro continent. Those who are researchers have found the mitochondria DNA, mtDNA, which is used by genetics to examine how populations are related. The mtDNA is more abundant than DNA found in the cells of the nucleus. So it's easier to study. Researchers found that the haplotypes, which are a sequence of genes that mutate more slowly than the rest of the mtDNA. Most researchers assume that the occurrence of the M173 gene among Native Americans is the result of the European admixture. This view is not supported by the palographic or haplogroup of R1. This does not correspond to the former territories of European colonies with high population density. The location of the paternal clade contains one ancestor, which can be a population or a species, and all its descendants. The research does not match former center of Black Native Americans occupation and forced migration of Mongoloids and Black Native Americans into American Southwest. All right, this validates the presence of the R1 among Native American, Mongoloid Native American, and Mongoloid Black Native American admixture. Now look, what did it say? He said the same shit I say, that we didn't mix with the Mongoloids until we went to the Southwest. We didn't mix with them because they wasn't on the Southeast. That's my whole purpose of making the video that I made, I believe 2 days ago. What is the real Indian? You know what I'm saying? That was my whole purpose of making it, because under my research and what I'm seeing, I'm not settling with, oh, it was all these groups of people and all these different races here. I'm not going with that, because there's only but three major races. What, white, Black, and Asian, right? So if you know what I'm saying, so how would it be an unknown, mysterious race of people here? You understand what I'm saying? But from articles like this, as well as other articles, we already got evidence that shows us this. You know what I'm saying? But people will come, and everything you read, that's how you know motherfuckers is agents, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know niggas is agents, because nigga will try to come debunk something that can't be debunked. How you want to debunk something that can't? You want to just make up, you giving your opinion on it because your motherfucking education is minimal. Like me and Chief was saying last night, a lot of these Pan-Africans got minimum fucking research, man. And they get studied, they sound real slick and impressive, but at the end of the day, they ain't doing us a great harm by telling us who the fuck we're not. If your grandmother told you was a fucking Indian and you got this little 5-foot midget Garfield running around here telling you not, you need to tell them, mind your motherfucking business, take your ass back to where you came from and find out where your people came from, and stop coming here telling us where we came from. Now, like I said, I fuck with my Jamaicans. That's not all Jamaican brothers. Okay, here's a video that Darkman did. Darkman actually did a video on this. And I was going to do it, but he already did it, so I don't need to do it. But he already showed it was a brother that was from the Caribbean, and he was saying that it was already Black people in the Caribbean. He was saying that the Arawaks was Black, and this is a Jamaican telling me this. This is a motherfucking Jamaican telling me this. Like I said, he got a whole video on this shit. But niggas are still challenge him. Niggas are still come at him. You can look at the damn Jamaican coats of arms. I mean, you can look at the Jamaican seal and see that there was 2 Black people on there. But they're gonna sit there, oh no, well, this is just a picture. Like I said, man, niggas want to play a lot of games, man, because 1 minute it's a picture when it doesn't live up to what the fuck you're saying. It's a picture, but then you want to show me pictures or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, at the end of the day, man, the research is out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm constantly doing the work out here, man. Support Culture Freedom, hitting Culture America. You know what I'm saying? Send a donation to my PayPal or Cash App so we can get things moving. Things is getting done. With the donation, shout out to the brother who donated me yesterday, RB. $30 donation. I appreciate it. But definitely go to my t-shirt springs. I'm going to be putting some more t-shirts up there probably today, man. I really got another 30 or 40 t-shirts in which I just haven't had time to put them up there. But for the most part, I promise I'm going to put them up this week. So go to the site, man. Cop yourself something, man. At the end of the day, it's a fair exchange, man. It's something that you can represent yourself and people ask yourself, well, what is that? I'm what you call an Indian. But you was African. Yeah, because you came here and you learned from these Europeans. These Europeans taught you that, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's how you break it down. Oh, I know. Because you go to these European schools. That's how you think that. That's why motherfuckers come here, these Africans and all these other people come here to study and get these degrees and think that these degrees is about something. I just like to point out there the niggas because listen, I'm from the hood. I don't speak the Queen or King English, and I don't plan to. You understand what I'm saying? I don't plan to. So when niggas hear me talk or whatever, they think I'm uneducated. They think I ain't got no type of education or anything. You know what I'm saying? Outside of what the research and what I'm reading. So I have to put out there and tell people, well, look, dude, I am working on a master's degree. So I have to have some type of knowledge or I have to be motivated to do something. Because a lot of this shit is hard. I just got a motherfucking B in my statistic class, dude. I didn't believe I was going to get that. I thought I was going to fail the fucking class because the shit was tough, man. The shit was tough, bro. It was tough. All the calculations wasn't coming out consistently or what I thought they was when you run them through, man. Well, for the most part, I got through with it. Got 2 B's. Finito with that for the most part. All right, you know what? I think that was the brother Joshua people. That was you, my brother. Yo, I'm gonna hit you back after this. I promise you I'll hit you back after this, man. I would send you a link. If that was you, let me see something. Let me see something real quick. I don't know. I don't think that was you. All right, let's continue. All right. So where was I at? Oh, man, give me a second. Let me find out what was I at. All right, I see where I was at. It said an Indian African admixture would have been between sub-Saharan Africa, it's saying, and Black Native Americans already living here. It's saying at the advent of the colonial era, meeting with Mongoloid Native Americans, the African Pacific RM-173 Y DNA from sub-Saharan Africa. It's saying secludes, which is associated with the SSA RM-269 subclude in Africa. It's saying which reveals there was a gene flow from SS towards Mongoloid people in North America to date during the past 500 years. All right, it's saying the most prominent Y chromosome of Native Americans in North America is RM-173. RM-173 is found in northeast and southeast parts of, it's found in northeastern and southwestern parts of the United States, along with the mtDNA haplogroups X 25%. Both haplogroups are found in Africa, it's saying, but are absent of Siberia. It's saying there are varying frequencies of Y chromosome, M173 in Africa and Eurasia, whereas only between 8% and 10% of M173 is carried by Eurasians. 82% of the carrier of the Y chromosome is found in Africa. That's what Dr. Winter said. All right. So this is very interesting. It said give presence of the RM173. It said found among many American Indian groups. RM173 among the North American, the Algonquin group range from the Ojibwe and the Chippewayan and the Seminoles. So all right, so it's among North American groups. Chippewa got 79%. The Ojibwe got 79%. The Chippewa got 62%. The Seminole got 50%. Cherokee 47%. The Graf got 40%, and the Papa got 38%. African origins of this haplogroup is evident among the Seminoles who continue to show African phenotype. Now listen, remember, I don't agree with Clive Winters. Clive Winters is an excellent researcher, okay? But he is still based in some type of Pan-Africanism, because I'm quite sure he researched stuff and he see that stuff in America has to be older than stuff over there. While he keeps saying that the people, we have similar genetics as the people over there, which we don't. We definitely do. That's not. I'm not gonna never argue that, and I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna ever argue that. But it tells you that your DNA changed from each individual. Each individual DNA changes. How does it change? Because it changes from the environment you live in, and what people is not telling you. They're not telling you that your DNA changes from the environment you live in. All right. So it said, due to Indian slavery in North America, Black Native American population absorbed by larger. And now listen to this. This is what he said. This is not true. I don't agree with this. Due to the Indian slavery in North America, the Black American population was absorbed by a larger SSA slave population, which is bullshit. They only bought 300. Dr. Clive Winters. They only bought 380,000 so-called Africans here. I'm quite sure you see the Brown University research of me telling you that they enslaved 6 million people. That would have been a total of all the people that they got on slaveboy.org, all the people that they brought over. It would have been 16 million people who was enslaved. But they're only giving you a number of 11 million, 12 million, which a little over 10 million made. Okay, so now if you enslave 6 million people, where are these people at? And like you said, even when I was watching a video of the Brown University, what the young lady kept saying, they kept on moving, these people disappear. Like I said, people naive, because they don't do heavy research in the slave trade. If you did heavy research in the slave trade, you would know that after 1776, how the fuck is the United States going to Africa bringing slaves here? How? How is they going? They warring. They in war. How are they going to Africa bringing slaves here when they got all these Indian slaves? Now, I showed you yesterday in 1708. In 1708, they enslaved the number of Indian slaves that was in Florida was 10 to 12,000, according to them. The numbers could have been less, and the numbers could have been higher. But back then, it was 10 to 12,000 people. Come on, bro. So how many people was enslaved throughout, or Indians was enslaved totally? Come on, man. Like I said, you have to look at the numbers. If you don't have these numbers to study, then you ain't got nothing. You can't come to me and tell me nothing. Because you ain't even qualified to be debating me on this, because you lack information, and your ego is too big to where you're not trying to sit down and listen to our what we propose. And like I said, no disrespect to my brother Kane or to other brothers who do this. They automatically think that we all got the same perspective. And like I said, we all have a similar perspective that we was here, but I don't have the same perspective that a lot of people. I have similarities in my builds as other brothers, but for the most part, like I you know what I'm saying, I found out stuff that gives me a different opinion about certain things. Like when I'm finding out that people keep saying Africans, you're not finding no records of Africans. You just gotta find the records of Negroes that's being bought from British plantations in the Caribbean. And it's not even telling you where these Negroes are from that they got from. They just giving you Negroes that was already there in the British population, and you making an assumption that they came from Africa, but you're never even looking at the possibility that there was already black people who look just like the Jamaicans there, or just like the people in the Caribbean there. So all them islands, so everywhere you see a black person in North America, that's due to the slave trade. The fuck out of here, my dude. We know better than that. All right? So it's saying, in fact, the BNA, his heritage and land rights were stolen by government. It's saying, and all blacks in America, no matter their ancestry, was assigned the status of the former slave, of the former African slave. All right? It's saying Gilio Whitaker, 2015 wrote, as the Indian slave trade grew way, the African slave trade gave way to the African slave trade. Now, like I said, they're trying to exaggerate the numbers because I got documentation that we know that black Indians was enslaved all the way up until 1865. All the way up to 1865. You understand what I'm saying? Now, do you want to say that maybe, because understand this too, United States didn't have Liberia. British had Liberia. United States didn't have nothing to do with Liberia. You understand what I'm saying? The people who went to Sierra Leone and Liberia had to leave from like Canada and had to leave from Jamaica and places. They didn't leave from the United States, okay? Because the United States ain't had no colonies over there. You understand? And this is what most people don't even. So if they didn't have no colonies, they were just going to the port, grabbing people. Get the fuck out. So they grabbed millions of people just by pulling up to the fucking port and waiting for people to come. Are you serious? Okay. So say as the Indians say, they're gonna say as that, but we already see that in the mid from the 1600s to the mid 1700s, they say that Indians outnumber any African. They're gonna try to say in some cases, no, in all cases, because we got the data of what they're telling you. They're telling you they brought 380,000 people from the Caribbean. We don't know who these 380,000 people are because they have the title of Negro. You make the assumption that they're African. You make the assumption that they're African. You understand? And like I said, you brothers and sisters that's out here that want to entertain these DNA companies, telling you, I mean, be your guest. Do it. Do it. Like I said, do it. But you don't want to be an idiot like Garfield. He took 5 per turn. He took 5 DNA. So why the fuck would you take 5 and they all come out differently? Why is that? Because they're going to tell you that amongst the so-called melanated people that they're testing you with, you match all of them because you have similarities in your genetic. Don't mean you from there. It just means that you got similar genetic similarities to them. Don't mean you from there though. And this is what you stupid niggas don't understand. We just read the article. It just told you that DNA testing is going to tell you if you're related to certain family members. They ain't going to tell you family members all the way down the line because it's going to tell you it's going to be DNA, it's going to be junk DNA that ain't going to be able to pick it up. According to what they're saying. According to what they're saying. You understand what I'm saying? And then, like I said, if it was to test people in a larger database, meaning let's say they took samples from everybody in the world and test one person with everybody in the world, you would see that he would have similar genetic similarities to everybody in the fucking world. But they're not doing that. They're giving you a place where they told you from. They know we not West Africa. Right? So it's saying, now this is what he said. Native American women by intermarrying with imported Africans. That's not true. That's only when they show you these mongoloids that's mixing with these dark people or whatever that's on. And the shit get confused from there. Because that is already an Indian. He's just a Southern Indian. Okay? That's why in the research for me to get down to what I'm trying to find out. Maybe sometime I might be a little belligerent towards other races or whatever, and I apologize for that because let me tell you something, right? When I look at shit, I don't look at shit like other people. Okay? I'm looking down the scope of reality. Reality is that people came here and took your land and enslaved you. The other reality is that the same people who came and took your land is now claiming to be you. Okay? So when I see these people posing as me, I can't, even though that the European on the video said that he had black ancestors or whatever, I still can't accept the fact that these people are running around claiming to be Indian when they came here and they know that the Indian does not got the physiognomy of what they have or their facial features. They do not. They have different facial features or a different physiognomy and different hair textures. But because the European mixed with a lot of Indians, you see a lot of the mixed groups of people, and you automatically, oh, that's a real Indian. No, that's not a real, that's a mixture. That's why I make these determinations in these videos just to point it out. Okay? So let's continue. All right, so now he's saying was producing mixed race offsprings who native identity became a screw through time a colonial project to eliminate the landscape of Indians. These mixed race people simply became known as colored. Now, like I said, the Indians was already colored. The Indians was not white, then they was already colored. Don't give me that, you know what I'm saying? They want to try to give you the Indians that they look similar to Europeans, which that is something that the Anglo-Americans created that dialogue. They created that. They created that to fit their narrative, okay? But it tells you that the Indians became known as colored. People are bureaucratic in short in public records, all right? And talk about Walter Flecker, we talked about that. I'm not going over that. Let me see something. Yeah, it talks about Walker Flecker. All right, now look. It say going outside the United States to study American history and other cultures, a person will find time and time again a completely different descriptive of Native Americans, which was depicted in the U.S. John Henry Walker, a famous Canadian carver, illustrates African, Australian, Asian, and Malaysian as black people, which include Americans depicted as black Indians. The shape of a skull changes between 9,000 and 7,000 years, from being exclusive Negro to exclusive Mongoloid. Mongoloid people from North invaded and wiped out the original Americans. That's what they want you to believe. They didn't wipe out. The white man wiped this out through classifications. It said pre-European Fijians, meaning the people that was from South America, who lived in a Stone Age style, lived until this century, show hybrid skull features resulting from intermarrying between Mongoloid and Negroid people. The Black Asians were one of the first colonizers of America after the analysis of 11,000 years. Skulls digged in Brazil in 1974, the fossil found 13 millimeters, 43 feet deep in the Lapa Bamala. It's saying the regions of La Gata Santa. It's saying in 95, the skull was put under investigation. All right. So Marquez. It's saying alleged Amtama. It's saying of Mexico and the Coracle of Haiti. All right, the coracles. All right, the coracles. What that sound like? Coracles. Creole. It sounds a little bit like coracles of Haiti. The Agar, I can't pronounce that. It said whatever, was driven were descendants of African people. Now remember, it's going to keep saying that throughout the whole passage. A physical anthropology claimed that Negro strain was most visible in the Atami. It's saying the Taha Helm and Pima. Okay. Says something Alfonso in human species claim that black tribes of Latin America include the Coca, the Manabis, the Yaras, whatever, the Yamasi, and some other ones, and numerous ethnicities along the Orinoco River in Venezuela. Right? It said the major African group to settle in ancient America was Mandingan people. Now, this is what he said. He's saying southwest, western United States. It's saying Chaveza said that the Mandinka people were a dominant group. The word Mandinka agrees with the term Mandinka. It's saying used to denote the Mandinkan speaking people. It's saying Mexico and Panama. It's saying we have many places that allude to ancient Medellin presidents. For example, in Panama, we find the Sierra de Mali mountains range in the coast of whatever. They trying to say that this got something to do with it, but it don't. They might came over here and got it from over here. You know what I'm saying? And this is what a lot of the confusion. All right. So it's a further research. Ancient Americans represent two populations: Paleo-American, who was not phenotypical African, Australian Melanesian, and Mongoloid population that appear to have arrived in America after 6,000 years BC. So it's the determination of Paleo-Americans as members of a black variety is not a new phenomenon. Harwell's 1973, 89, and 95, using a multiple variates analysis, determined that the Eastern Island population was categorized as Australian Melanesians, while other skeletons from South America was found to be related to Africans and Australians. African, like I said, this is what he's saying, but this is just backwards history. These people, they're the same people. If you're saying that they black people here, then what the fuck, what do you mean? If you're saying that, first of all, you're saying that it was all these black people here that was here for over 50, 60,000. So you would think that would be a large population of people here. So I'm a little upset at Dr. Clive Winters. I know he ain't that naive to believe that they brought more Africans here than there was people here. And if you believe them records, then you need to go back and reevaluate your research. Because if you believe them records and what these people telling you, and at the same time they telling you with black people here, and the only reason, so now you get that they classify Indians as colored, and then you get people who try to make who try to specify why they because they mix with the Africans. Oh, you just said it was black people. So where these black people went? Oh, they died. The Mongoloids killed. Get the fuck out of here. So they would have migrated and been all through the America. So they killed all these people. Fuck out of here. You can say they classified us as colored. Okay. Let me see. For example, skeletons remains belonging to a black variety have been found in Brazil. Neves, Powell, Forrest, and Ozalan, 1998. It's saying Neves, 1998. It's saying Colombian Highlands, Neves, Powell, Mexico, Jose Gonzalez, Florida, Howell. It's saying Southern Patagonia, Neves. So these saying that these is where they found a lot of these structures. So you found all these structures in Cranial and all these places, and you're still telling people that Africans came here when you know that the Indians was enslaved. Like I said, it's just like at this point in time, if you know millions of Indians was enslaved, and you know that the Indians was black, why would you keep saying that they brought Africans here when they don't have high records of them bringing people here like that? I believe a lot of them records are made up, my dude. They're made up. They're made up because the population of people who was here, and then look at what they're telling you. They're telling you in 1700s, it was more Indians. They stopped the importation of any slaves in 1808. So what is it? Okay? But them are some good sources right there. I'm gonna look some of these. I know some of them. I know Neves, and I'm familiar with Power work. But this other guy, Porteous, I'm not familiar with his work. All right, so it say today, archaeologists have found sites from Canada to Chile that range between 20,000 and 65,000 years ago. Imhotep 2011, it's in Guryadan and Arnerd in 91. These are people last names that did the research. So Guryadan and Delbius in 1986. Gordian in 1996, 2015. There are numerous sites in North and South America which are over 35,000 years old. These sites are the Old Crow Basin, it's saying 38,000 years BC in Canada. The Orogande Caves, 36,000 years BC in the United States. The Pedro Forvadar, 45,000 years BC. Imhotep 2011, given the fact that the earliest date for the inhabitants of America occurred between Canada and South America, it's highly suggested that the fact that the early settlement in America came from Africa before the ice melt. Like I said, I don't believe that. My dude, I don't believe that, but I'll tell you one thing. If these people was here that long, you're telling me that it wasn't a large population of these people here? The Mongoloids could come here and wipe them all off? No, the European came here and wiped a lot of us off. That's what happened. With the ones that died and the ones that, you know what I'm saying, and with the ones that died and the ones that were sent out of here, then the numbers are very small. But that's that. All right, another one, another article. I'm going to finish this one up. It's becoming long. All right, so it's a DNA determiner. Determiner, sorry. All right. So let's say oh shit, what happened? Hold on. What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? Let me see something. Hold up. Let me see something. Go back up. They got some good research though. They got Brown Europe. You got some information about this. Moorish Empire, history of missions. So these are different history of missions, the sources that tells you. And then like I said, DNA. But you know what? They gotta contact us too. Let me see something. But you gotta send a message. I have no number. Okay. All right, so let's go back into this. All right, so DNA determiner. All right. So let's see. What you guys saying? To the minute. All right, please hit that like button. Please, yeah, please hit the like button. Oh, y'all, this shit moving fast as hell. Big ups to everybody in the chat room. All right, I'm about to go back in. All right, let me go back in. All right, so DNA determiner. So according to this article that appears in Ebony magazine, Johnson publication, most Black Americans have very little, if no, Native American blood flowing through their veins, right? Look, now, why would someone say that unless they was a fucking agent? Like, they put these articles out there on purpose, my dude. to throw us off. And they will put it in a black magazine to throw it off. When I can pull up 100 motherfucking black people claiming they're Indian, but because they created these fucking DNA stories, they gonna say, oh well, he's lying. So all these people lying? So all these people lying. Now, like I said, that's just really just basic. That DNA shit was created to basically do the same thing. Now the DNA shit is being put so hard to where now they say, well, let's do your DNA. They're telling you ain't no DNA. But yet motherfuckers will still tell you to keep doing the DNA. So most black American had no Native American DNA through their veins. We're not Native American. We are the original Indians. In the article, go on to say, most black folks have been told they are part Cherokee. The straight black hair your grandmother had was a result of white genes in her back. And that's true. It is a result of white genes and a mixture of Indian genes. We see the texture of the Indian's hair. That's the reason why I see Madam C.J. Walker came up with the trick, because we was already doing that shit. So see, known history. Don't let anybody tell you what your history is, because America changed it. It said those with the biggest guns write the history books. You have an obligation to yourself and to your history to understand why Native American blood does not show up. If your people is from a population whose heritage was changed, now referred to as paper genocide, Native blood would never show up because the race classification were changed by the U.S. government. They're telling you who did it. Why the fuck do they want you to know? They telling you who did it. Let me see. I got the email. Let me see. Yes, I got it right. One second. All right, that's that. So, so your history, saying, telling you what do we keep finding? Like what, you know what I'm saying? Every time I pull articles, what does it keep telling you? Keep telling you how they change their classification, bro. So, you know, we talking about Walter Ashby Pepper again, which we already know, but he wasn't the main person who did this. The Jim Crow laws is the laws that ultimately done it. A lot of people don't understand, you know what I'm saying? Them are the laws that ultimately done it. But it's good to read some of the stuff because you get a different perspective. Now, he's still referencing DNA, but let me see something real quick. Look, check this out. Let me show you something. That's what he's saying is. And it's going to fit everything that I've been telling you guys. Everything I've been telling you. The Southeast Indians do not have Mongoloid in them. They don't. They do not have Mongoloid on them. What happened was when they went out there to Oklahoma, they had plain Indians out there too, and a lot of people mixed with them. Well, prior to that, none of them Mongoloids was present among the Pequot, Wapanaki, Nassagaret, the Mohegans, the Shinnecock, the Montauk, the Lenni Lenapes, when you want to say the Powhatans, the Pamunkeys, the other tribes that's in Virginia, as well as the other tribes that was in the other regions that was later created, like North Carolina, as far as we talk about the Damascus, the Tuscarora, and the Choctaw, and the Chickasaw, and them was tribes that was here. You understand what I'm saying? And you do not see any remnants of Mongoloids. You only see either they are white and black. And like I said, the classification, we have to come down to the classification, because if we got images of so-called melanated people that being called Indians, then how the fuck did it change? Because we already know what happened. Okay, so look. So I say, just remember that more Indians were enslaved than Africans imported from Africa. Okay, so remember that. Okay, and this is he telling the truth here. The other thing, he didn't tell the truth, but let me see something real quick. Let me see something. All right, so let's read this real quick. Walter Ashby Collector was an American physician and a public health advocate, who was the first registrar of Virginia Bureau of Statistics and Vital Statistics, serving from 1912 to 1946. Collector changed the race classification on Native Americans to Negro. So if you are officially a Negro, according to the government, how can Native American blood show up in I'm sorry. Let me read that again. So if you are officially a Negro, according to the government, how can Native American blood show up in a blood quantum test? Blood quantum test show up if ramifications for classifications was changed. Just remember that more Indians were enslaved than Africans imported. So what would that fucking tell you? If more Indians were enslaved than Africans that was imported, and it was more Indians on these plantations. Remember, the Africans were nothing but just Caribbean people, because they can't even give you no records. They can't say, all right, well, these people came directly from Africa. No, they went to the Caribbean and got them. So who was bringing them to the Caribbean? They was already there. But then it's going to be some confusing shit where they're going to try to say that the Spanish brought on African shit, which we can prove that they did. They just enslaved the fucking people here. They might have had a few Moors or a few captured that was already in the Iberian Peninsula, but they didn't come from Africa. They was already there. Okay? So that pretty much tells you right there. So say, just remember that more Indians were enslaved. Okay, so more Indians was enslaved than you have black people. So there was no areas where they just predominantly enslaved Africans. If you have people telling you that, that's not true. They want to tell you that the Africans was just working the cotton field. That's bullshit, because the people of the land was working the cotton field. People of the land was working the cotton field. People of the land was the people who knew what to fucking do with cotton. The European didn't absolutely know that. They only knew that because they seen us cultivating it. Okay? So it tells you right there. All right, so it says some listen to this. Some card-carrying Cherokees currently have no Asiatic DNA. The level of haplogroup T in the Cherokee, 26.9%, approximately the same percentage of 25% of what is found in Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Yemen. It said Egyptian is one of the only lands where T attains a major position among the various mitochondrial lineages. Skin color and facial features are primarily like people who lived there in those countries. All right. So it say the profile of RM173, which we talked about, supports the ancient migration. It say the Kushites, which I'm not going with that. I'm not going with the Kushites in Africa, Eurasia. I'm starting not to even believe that shit, bro. I'm believing that the great civilizations were like in North Africa, into the Iberian Peninsula, and throughout Europe and Asia and America. Okay, of what we consider a melanated people that did. If you check, like I said, why don't the Africans have any castles other than the shit that they show you of recently? You know what I'm saying? Why is it not why in West Africa Africa, South Africa, they don't have shit. They don't have nothing compared. If he gets told you they found castles in America, castles, temples, mounds, observatory, they find all this shit over here, but you don't find none of this stuff over here. None of it. You don't find none of this stuff over here. And see, according to us, the first people to build these so-called structures, whether you want to call them pyramids or whatever, with black people, right? So if the images, if the structures over here outdate the ones over there, are you willing to say that the Native Americans built these before the so-called great black America or black people? No, you're not going to say that. You just don't want to admit that it was blacks in America because for some reason you feel like that takes away from you being an African. But guess what? Though? If you go through the Americas, you'll see that it's just as many black people throughout this land as it is over there. But you're just not being told that. You don't look at these people as your people because you think that they speak Latin. These not the same people. My people speak their original. Get the fuck out of here. Some people over in Africa have been colonized too. So if they was colonized by these numerous different, if Nigeria is not an African word, then what the fuck? Okay. So it talks about the Kushites. We talked about that. Let's still talk about it. I said, although European/African admixture is less likely to occur in the same period, this was the most frequent haplogroup, 22.7%. In Siberia studies, they're saying, and may represent a very rare addition, finding haplogroups in Asian admixture. The presence of R1 denotes the African heritage, many North American, Native American populations. Some researchers claim that the NA must have the European heritage because some population carry the haplo RM269. Okay. Like I said, I'm believing that a lot of these mutations in DNA, which are not, I guess you want to call them mutations because they're mixing genes, or like I said, that gets confusing too. But I guess they look for the mutations that's not present, so they can test you with someone who they consider to be a full melanated person and see the difference. But like I said, they can test him too. They can test a regular African against a European, and he should pop up. European should have, it should be vice versa. Even though that they're going to say that the African got European genes, but they ain't going to do that. Because that's going to uncover the lid on all this shit. All right, so let me see something. All right, the DNA does not deny the possibility that 20% of African ancestry is Native American origin. When you're, like I said, I do the data myself. I'm walking up to people who are inebriated, people drunk. They all know they fucking Indian. But another nigga, but Henry Louis Gates faggot ass will come up and tell your ass you're not. Even though your grandmother said, and you're like I said, man, these people gonna get theirs, man. For all this shit and all the lies you told and the propagation of these lies. See, it's just not to tell a lie, but you're propagating shit. And you got people, family members telling them, and you're telling them they're not that because you're able to test some fucking genetic similarities. What makes up genetics? Skin, blood, bones, and organs. And what will come up is the fact that you have dark skin, you have brown eyes, you might have a wide nose, you might have wide lips, you might have big ears, you might have small ears, you might have a big head, you might have a small head, you might have big feet, all that shit will come up in the DNA, man. All that shit will come in up. And if another person got the same genetic similarities, you will match with that person no matter if it's a white or black person. Because what are we testing? What is the moral of the DNA that's being tested? It has to be, like you said, what makes DNA? What makes DNA is the 4 amino acid proteins, which they find here on the planet. And along with the glucose or the structure, that's what makes what people say the helio, the fucking the DNA model. But glucose is from carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are fruits and vegetables. all fruits and vegetables are from, I mean, like it's from, let's say something in Mexico, right? So if you go inside Mexico, Mexico might have something present in the soil that Africa don't have. So that present in the soil can change your DNA and make it different, make it a different, it would make it different from what a melanated person in Africa eats. Because that's what make your DNA. What make your DNA is your nutrients in your surroundings and your habitat. That's what make it. So I mean, that's from my understanding. I don't give a fuck what nobody tell me. You can tell me what the fuck you want to tell me. Like I said, if we go to scientists gonna tell you. We just read 2 articles. Niggas told you that this shit is for fun. While you got people running around, get your ass, get out of here. Sorry about that. But scientists will tell you, they just told you. We just read about 2 articles and it was telling you that this is a joke. Okay? So all right, so it's saying 20%, not according to my research, because I ain't 20% would be 2 out of 10 people will say that they would be Native Americans. Now I'm out of 10 people, a large majority of the time, everybody know who their tribe is. So if I line 10 African Americans up, I'm randomly picking these people. I'm not going to no Indian territory. I'm going in the fucking ghettos of North America. And I'm just asking them random questions. Yo, what tribe of Indian you got? Oh, Cherokee. What tribe of Indian you got? Oh, Cherokee. And then people will constantly keep on saying that. And then they just keep on deceiving us by saying that. So test the Cherokee. Okay, test the people Cherokees now and see what DNA they got. But they don't want to do that. Because even if you test them, what is it going to say about them? What is it going to say about them? It's going to have some type of Negro DNA in it. Because what do the fucking Southeast Indians look like? And this is like I said, the purpose I made the video the other day is for more observation. It's not more for racism or separation. It's more for us to observe the lies that's being told. And what do the Southeast Indian look like? If the Southeast Indian wasn't a Negro, if he wasn't a Mongoloid, if he wasn't an Asian, then what the fuck did he look like? What other race of people was on this planet that's a mysterious race of people? Fuck out of here, man. It wasn't Mongoloids. We can prove that through just looking at the tribes. So they wasn't white. You claim they wasn't African, so what the fuck was they? That's right. Okay. So all right, so the earliest settlers on the American continent came from Africa, according to him. Now he said before the Bering Straits and all that. I ain't reading that because we already just touched on something similar to it. So I'm gonna bypass that. Bypass that. Pretty much some of the same stuff as weird. I'm gonna read this right here. So it says that the English colony of Carolina, South Carolina, established in 1670, estimate that between 1650 and 1730, at least 50,000 indigenous people and likely more due to transactions hitting to avoid paying government tariffs and taxes was exported by English alone to the Caribbean outport. So 50,000 people. 50,000 people from here. Use your motherfucking brains, man. Even if the number's wrong, you have to be saying, well, hold up, man. And like I said, you'll get somebody to come here and just ignore the whole thing instead of saying, well, you know what? Let me do some research on it. Instead of just dismissing it and being a damn idiot like I am, let me do some research on it and let me see what I can find. Or let me see if I can find some data that corresponds with this as opposed to dismissing it. So 50,000 people. So 50,000 people will be, I want to say, 1/8, or a little over 1/8 of the so-called Africans that was brought here, my dude. Okay, that's over 1/8. I mean, 380,000. Let's say 400. Let's round it up to 400,000. 400,000. 50,000 going to 400,000. I'm talking 8 times. So I would do 1/8. So 1/8 of the so-called slave population, they sent 50,000 indigenous people to the Caribbean. Okay, with the people who we already assumed who was in the Caribbean. So now you let that marinate, okay? You let that marinate. So they was moving numbers like this and still bringing people over here like that. So what happened to them 50,000 people that's in the Caribbean? Because like I said, you asked the Caribbeans, do you see any Native Americans? That means it would be 50,000 Mongoloids over there, or 50,000 people, Europeans over there. Or if you think the European was an Indian, then it would be 50,000 of them, or it would be 50,000 Mongoloids. The Mongoloids would have mixed in with whatever the people was there, and they would have some type of Asian features, which you don't see out here. Now, we ain't talking about the East Indian that was slaves that was brought over here by the English in Guyana. We're not talking about them. We're talking about 50,000 indigenous people that was taken from South Carolina, my dude. From South Carolina in 1670, it said between 1650 and 1730. That's 80 fucking years. 80 years, at least 50,000 indigenous people were shipped to the Caribbean. So in that 80 years, you believe that they brought all these, they was bringing Africans in? No, they was shipping your ass there, and in some cases going back, bringing people from there. They would break your ass in and bring you back. That's it. Only thing they wanted to break you was you stop fighting over your land. That's all they wanted to do. They, as long as you was going to agree to them to be under their foot, to be their footstool, they had no, they was A-okay with that. It was A-okay. That's the reason why you see racism is not prominent until after the Civil War, when you start getting the formation of the KKK and these guys, right, Freemason groups, which was more prevalent, and they was pushing more white brotherhood or white dominance because they already seen how the system was. Okay, so it tells you. It said, now look, listen to this, my dude. All right, let me lock this shit. I gotta smoke to this because this shit, like I said, people is not getting a full understanding of this shit, my dude. They're not. Check this out. We're gonna get into this. Because these some good numbers. These some good statistical numbers that you can work with. Okay, that you can work with. That'll give you a great. So what did it say in the last verse? Let me see. It wasn't this one. I'm sorry about that. So now one more time. Let's go back over this. The original English colony of Carolina, South Carolina, established in 1670. Estimates that between 1650, so that was before it was established, meaning that they was warring with people there, okay? In 1730, at least 50,000 indigenous people, likely more. Okay, likely. They saying likely with emphasis. Like that word likely, it's not saying, it's not giving you, it's giving you likely. Likely more due to transactions hitting to avoid paying tariffs and taxes. It's saying was exported by English alone to their Caribbean outposts. Okay, now to their Caribbean outposts between 1670 and 1717, far more indigenous Americans were exported than Africans were imported. Now, what is that telling you? In southern coastal regions, the entire tribe was exterminated through slavery rather than disease and war. In the law passed in 1704, Indian slaves was conscripted to fight in wars for colonies. Long before, yo, my dude, they giving up the game right here, my man. They giving up the game right here, my dude. They giving it up right here. They telling you right here. They telling you right here. So they sent 50,000 indigenous people to the Caribbean, and then you had, get the fuck, I don't even think they was dealing with them numbers like that because they ain't had that many people to watch over them people like that. You understand? I don't even think they was dealing with them type of numbers. I really don't. What is it telling you? And this passage right here is giving us everything what we already know. Okay. Now look. It said between 1670 and 1717, far more indigenous Americans were exported. How many times do we read this? How many times do we keep reading this? Far more. Now, where's these people at in the Caribbean? Because according to them, they're all Africans in the Caribbean. They're all Africans and white. And they ain't even none of the original some people there. Now we're gonna get into it. They got some more body to go with this. All right, look. Check this out. Now this stupid nigga, all you gotta do is study the Nazi culture and see what the Nazis was doing instead of making speculations or whatever. If the Nazi culture did not come across no fucking Africans and they already practiced a spiritual system that was similar to Voodoo, and they were sent by the French to the fucking West Indies, and what people are they? Use your fucking brains, man. Like, people is so stupid. Because they telling you that, so the French at the same time was going to Africa, bringing slaves to Santo Domingo and bringing slaves from America, taking them to West Indies. They ain't had that many places in the West Indies to do that. Look. In a law passed in 1704, Indian slaves was conscripted to fight in wars. Crispin Attucks. Look, well, long before the American Revolution, 600,000 American Indian natives were enslaved between 1521. Now, this is what they telling you: 6 million, 6,000. We know it was more than that, right? It's saying at 1776, which amounts to more than the numbers of Africans brought to the Americas by Europeans. Okay, so they telling you. But I know it was more people than that. They telling you 600,000. Brown University is telling you 5 to 6 million. On the low end, 2 million. Okay, now look. Examples are shown below. Nashat people were sold by the French into slavery, in slavery in the West Indies. Where is Haiti not in the West Indies? Is Haiti not in the West Indies? The Nazi culture was practicing voodoo. But these stupid niggas can't. They don't understand it. They don't understand the connection because their brain doesn't pick up on this shit. Like, they're Africa. Because you got these idiots that's out there telling you, oh, well, we find these niggas, all they do is connect cultures and then make some type of theory as a result to that. But saying because you're told that people came from over here, so that means that. And so what if people didn't come from Africa and they was already in America and they still got similar cultures to Africa? What you gonna say? You ain't gonna give way to that because your whole basic on the argument is that shit started from over there. Like I said, you got people out here who are putting out legislations and doing like these documentations and all that. And I'm doing the same thing, okay? I know people sitting there like, oh, well, you want to argue about, oh, we African. It makes a fucking big difference because if you're not a motherfucking African and you from here, then that's a whole nother story. Okay, so it matters. It might not matter to other individuals, but it matters to A1. Okay, it matters to me the most because, like I said, when I was studying this Pan-African shit, all I kept hearing was Africa. And everybody who was studying Africa always marveled the motherfucking pyramids. Always like, oh, well, the pyramids in Africa was built on all these crazy, giving you all of these historical evidence and everything just to find out the pyramids in America was built first. And then you got niggas saying, well, Africans came to America to teach the people over here how to build the pyramid. But the pyramids over here, according to your academia, are older. They're older, according to academia. Now, I don't know how Dr. Ben and Ashwa Kwesi was saying, but they might be right. The pyramids over there in Egypt are older. And that means the pyramids over here are older than them. Because if there's 100,000 structures, what you think take longer to build 100,000 structures? Or, all right, let's say it was 1,000 structures. To build 1,000 structures or build 320 structures? What do you think took longer? What do you think took longer? Why do you think the first pyramids in Egypt was the second pyramid? Because we went over there and built it. That's why. But they're going to tell you otherwise. And then most people don't even believe that them pyramids in Egypt is real. Which is, most people will laugh about that because people not critical thinkers. They're being trained. You're being told, like the Armin Ra squad, when they first came up, they kept talking about scholarly and all this. So anything that was denoted as scholar, you're supposed to believe. You're supposed to believe anything you read in any of these historical fronts or whatever, and you're supposed to believe it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're telling you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, these brothers talk about old African churches, and that's all bullshit. That's all. They was all Negro churches. And what did I read yesterday about the fucking Negroes? They're telling you it came from a servitude status. We find that in New Negroes is not a group of people. They did not come here and find Negroes. So they came here and found tribes of melanated people who you would think would be Negro. The word Negro was applied to them later. So look, it's telling you. Now let's put your brain together. If you can connect the Nazi people with some form of Creole, if you can connect the Nazi people practicing what people assume to be the spiritual system of voodoo before any Europeans came, before any so-called Africans came here, then where the fuck did they learn it from? Oh, the Africans still came over here and taught us. And when are you going to abandon the fact? Because the only thing that people say is the people that came from Condoleezza or whatever, they came over, or not. If I'm not mistaken, I might not be correct on the name, but they say, oh, these people came over here and they was practicing voodoo and they taught these people cat play. Listen, we was already doing cat play in America. There ain't no Africans do no. If the Africans do cat play, it's because they came from probably Brazil or somewhere. But like I said, the Natchez people sold by French into slavery into the West Indies. The Creek in Georgia, the Creek of Georgia was slaves in Central South. And across North America, the Wapanaki tribe, Martha Vineyard, they saying died from. They didn't die, my dude. They still around. Okay? It's saying that killed 40% of the tribe. The male survivors were sold into slavery into the West Indies. The women and children were sold into slavery in New England. Slavery was part of a larger strategy to depopulate the land to make way for European settlers. Now, how evil is that? How evil is knowing that? So you enslaved my ancestors because to make larger strategy to depopulate the land, to make way for European settlers? It's saying as early as 1636. They talk about the Pequot War, which we are talking about. They say that the remaining of them was sold into slavery and sent to Bermuda. It's saying the major slave ports, including Boston, Salem, Mobile, New Orleans. It's saying from these ports, Indians were shipped to Barbados by English, Martinique, and Guadeloupe by the French. It's saying the Antille and by the Dutch. And now he missed Haiti. He don't want to admit that the Haitians came from here. Okay, he don't want to admit that. But it's saying that Indian slaves were also being sent to Bahamas as well as a breaking ground where they might be been transported back to New York and Antigua. Okay, now look, they talk about the same thing what we talk about right there. Right? Check this out. It said at least 3,000 Americans, so-called Indians, are known to be shipped to Europe between 1493 and 1501. Columbus expedition, most were sent to Seville area, where they show up on the slave market as Negro. This major contradiction to the whole slave trade myth. Blacks were always in America. The missing Indians are Negroes. The Indians sold into slavery on slave markets in the South was initially the black people from right here in the hemisphere. As they took the land here and enslaved the inhabitants of those land who were black. Okay, that's what happened. That's it. But then niggas to try to confuse you even more by bringing more of this African shit in and not saying, well, look, they telling you that they enslaved more people here than anybody. What do you guys say? Like I said, I mean, we touched on this. I got at least about 10 videos dealing with the Indian slavery. Okay? At least 10 videos dealing with the Indian slavery. Let me see what you guys are talking about. The receipts are getting bigger. Huh? What's the dark brother? The receipts is getting bigger. You see this shit? Let me see what you guys talking about. Let me see. That's right, Seneca. The Seneca was the people that lived in Central Park, and then was black. They're gonna try to say they mixed with. Anytime you see a black Indian, they're gonna keep lying to us and saying we mixed with Africans. When you got people already saying we was here already. Peace to all the brothers and sisters in the chat room, everybody. Martha Vineyard still have a huge black population. Exactly. They're saying, yeah. Let me see what you guys talking about. Right. That's right. And they tried to talk about the Dutch. And you think the Dutch ain't take people from here over there? You really think that? Or you like that Braveheart? All right, look, I'm gonna drop them in a link though. Let me put them in a link. Which one is y'all want? Y'all want this one right here? Once you go on this site right here, you can go navigate and get to everything else. So I'm gonna put this one. This is the one I'm reading right now. I'm putting it in the chat. I'm gonna put it in. I gotta just remember to put the shit in the description, man. That's one of them. That's the one I'm reading from now. Which other one do you want? You want the you want this one with the DNA? And get the source of the lady. Let me see. This one right here. Just get the source of the individual because that's gonna be your challenge. If you got other motherfuckers who claiming that none of these niggas who doing none of this research are fucking anthropologists. So if you got an anthropologist that's agreeing with you, you have to start understanding. You have to start understanding, start saying to yourself, well, hold up, man. You know, maybe these people are lying. Why is these people coming out telling you that? You understand what I'm saying? So let's get back into it. This is very interesting. So say tens of millions of Americans. Now look, they said tens of millions, my dude. Now, how the fuck do you got tens of millions of Americans disappearing at the same time you talking about you brought tens of millions of Africans here? How? Where did they go? Where did they go? He said tens of millions of Americans, so-called Indians, who disappeared after 1492 did not all die in the Holocaust inflicted within America. Many thousands were sent to Europe and Africa as slaves. The whole slave myth is that the whole story was given to us in reverse. The mass colony of Africans were not shipped from Africa to America, but the truth is that black Indians were shipped from America to Europe and then shipped to Spain and Africa as commodity, as African resources. The black Indians, now mistaken as African, were shipped back to America and classified as do you fucking hear this shit? Go ahead. We didn't touch on this before though, but it's just been a long time that we heard this. Okay? Been a long time. Listen, this passage right here is a heavyweight bill. I'm gonna read it one more time, okay? It's a heavyweight bill, okay? This is a heavyweight bill. Now, niggas, oh, this guy, he made this up. Oh, he's lying about this. He made it up. He got the source on the side right there. Now, look. Now, he said tens of millions. Now, he's telling you, now, yo, like I said, man, yo, Ken, listen. Please go to the PayPal app and the Cash app and donate for Coach of Freedom and Coach of America, Black Indians, or cop yourself a t-shirt string. Aborigine were, Indigenous Americans. You know what I'm saying? Either or, I would greatly be appreciative to your cause on getting this documentary out, as well as supporting this material, man. Because, like I said, I mean, I don't know. I like this information. I think this information is very crucial and very important to information that we're not getting from other people put it out there. So let's read this one more time, okay? One more time. Tens of millions of Americans, so-called Indians, who disappeared after 1492 did not all die in the Holocaust inflicted within America. Many thousands were sent to Europe, Africa as slaves. The whole slave myth is that of the whole story was given to us in reverse. The mass colony of Africans was not shipped from Africa to America, but the truth is that black Indians were shipped from America to Europe. They were then shipped back from Spain to Africa as a commodity for African resource. The black Indians, now mistaken as Africans, were shipped back to America and classified as African slaves. This part of our history is what the school system failed to mention in history programs. All right. So like I said, man. Look, it said the earliest mounds in Monroe, LA. I guess that's Louisiana. I don't know what that's saying. 3400 BC, which would be what? 5,418 years ago. Indigenous people of eastern and southeastern woodland today have extensive African descent. Now look, this is where this guy's fucking up at, because he just gave us that beautiful paragraph before to tell you tens of million people, and then you telling us that the people who were shipped back was Africans. So why are you not putting this in quotations? Indigenous Indians. You know what I'm saying? You just said that the Africans were shipped over and shipped back, and then you think they was African state. This is what they just told us. Okay? But now, the deviation, he's not consistent. Whoever wrote this is not consistent with their research. And you keep on throwing people off because one breath you're saying they're saying tens of millions of people here and then put these people back. If they have saved tens of millions of people who disappeared and they only brought 10 million people over here, wouldn't you assume that some of them, the majority of them, will be the people who you sent out of here? And if you know that, then why you keep saying because they bring African slaves here that they're African, that they're not indigenous to America? See, this is the critical thinking that most people don't think about. They don't think about it. They think this shit is funny. You know what I'm saying? They do not think about this shit. This motherfucker don't know what day he's supposed to be eating. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to meet with somebody today. Some important business. Yeah. And we got another town in Jersey called Weehawken. Weehawken. You know what I'm saying? Which is an Indian name. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, you see all these towns, like you said, eastern and southeastern woodland. Okay? That's us, the woodlands. Okay? So you think it's funny that people's last name is Wood? You think it's funny? You know they direct. My girl last name Wood. And I know she a motherfucker. Her grandmother and them was Indians or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I know that. I can tell. You know what I'm saying? Her grandmother was old as hell, still moving around, still dancing, still drinking and shit. I know she was a motherfucking Indian. But check this out. So it's saying, all right, saying today have extensive African descent. It says such as Nasser Garrett, they trying to paint that the reason these people are black is because they mix with Africans, okay? Which we already know that's not true. Okay, how do you know? How do you know who they mix with? You just said that the Africans or the people who were sent from the Americas were sent to Africa, and it was tens of millions of them. It was more people that was brought over here. What the fuck is you talking about? All right, saying other tribes. The Muskegees are descendants of the Mississippi cultures who built the earth-onward mounds, and their regions chieftain located throughout the Mississippi River Valley and its tributaries. How about that? Indian freemen grant guaranteed 1866 treaty rights within Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw Creek, and Seminole nations found themselves excluded from benefits in 1989, the Reagan era. Native American reservations, economy, initiatives became the birth certificates of subsequent generations of ethnic Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw Creek, and the Seminoles. Indicate that there were Negroes, black, colored, and African Americans. Therefore, they was not Indians. Now, look. Now, you don't think color is important when these fucking mongoloids, the people, telling us that we're not Indian, and you don't think that we don't supposed to be fucking having a grievance about this? You see, so you say I'm not supposed to have a grievance when the people that's in these Indian territories are either mongoloids or Europeans, and they're the ones that's telling us we're not Indians when we're the real Indians, and no one's supposed to get down to the bottom and at least say, well, look, who the real Indians? Okay? Because they're telling you, they're saying we're not Indians, but everybody keeps saying it was Negroes here. Oh, but no, them Negroes died. Now you're African. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit is like, it's beyond weird. At a Native American burial ground in Little Rock, Arkansas, African American graves were found among prehistoric Indian men. Now, look, African American graves was found among. Do you hear this shit? Do you listen? You guys, do you listen? I was born on a day, but I wasn't born yesterday. Do you hear this shit? Listen, let's read this again. At a Native American burial, you can say that the mound builders is black, so they mound builders wasn't Native Americans. It's a Native American burial ground in Little Rock, Arkansas. African American graves were found among prehistoric. How did you get African American graves found along prehistoric Indian mounds? What the fuck is what part are we missing here? Prehistoric? I mean, hold up. Let me go back to the chat. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking crazy or something. No, I don't get this shit, man. But he said African American graves was found along a prehistoric Indian site, right? You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. You can't make this shit up. The cover up is deep. It's even among indigenous people. All right, it's saying we're found among prehistoric Indian mounds. Member of the Quapaw tribe. The Quapaw tribe members were taken into slavery by Europeans. While newspaper reporters tried to explain how this happens, logs prevailed to say maybe both groups were the same people who were the mound builders. The burial sites were discovered on land purchased by a tribe in 2013. It's saying which was, well, why would the tribe have to purchase land? See, this cracker ain't treating an Indian no different than he treating a foreigner. You understand? He ain't giving you no separate rights than he giving people who come here. You got my land, that's yours already. When people just come here and they get the same rights. Like I said, I don't give a fuck because it is what it is. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? It tells you right there. Land? Did the tribe purchase land in 2013 or what? You're supposed to be Indian. I mean, why are you purchasing land? Because this devil ain't never gonna get his land. And he doing it in a way to where, like anybody would say, well, hold up, why would Indians be buying land? Don't you feel as though if you enslave these people, ancestors, you should do the right thing? Nah, but they not. So, all right. So it said was about a historic tribal plantation near Little Rock Port Authority. It's saying, and before that, part of the tribe historical Arkansas reservation. Let me see something. Let me see what else it says. Oh my God, go along there. All right. So according to African Americans and Native Americans and Indians were classified as Negro. Now I already talked about Seville, Spain. We already talked about that. So in 1993, the United Nations Center for Human Rights recognized the Washita. Okay, it said the oldest indigenous group of people on the earth. The register project, supervened from 15 million to hold up. Let me see something. It's the oldest indigenous people on the earth. All right, so let's say from 15 million to 20 million slaves arrived in America, North, Central, and South America between 1540 and 1850. It's in over a 310 year, according to U.S. history books, right? But it says Columbus became the first man in history to send slaves across the Atlantic, according to Nations Rush to emulate Columbus. In 1501, the Portuguese began to deport Beat-top Indians to Cape Verde as slaves. The Black Indian slavery destroyed the Indian nation of the Nashi, Yamasi, the Pequot. The first African slave raid took place in 1505, and Columbus spared. Now that's that's yeah, all right. So let me read some more. So it said, when the Moors, Indians of America, this is how he said, it's saying, begin dying and committing suicide, the labor was replaced with slaves from South. It said the gold and silver that Columbus extracted from America filled a 400% inflation that eroded the economy of 9 European nations that helped Europe to develop a global market system. Okay? I thought it was Africa. I thought it was Africa that helped the United States build their system or helped the Europeans build their system. Let's read this again. Read it one more fucking time since motherfuckers always talk. Africa got all the resources. Africa, no, it don't. It just got most of the resources that they can use now. Like most of the shit that they put in computers and these fucking TVs and all that. Yeah, it's in miles, but if we don't have a TV and we don't have a computer, shit ain't worth nothing. We got gold, we got diamonds, they find rubies over here, they find all that shit over here. So what are you really saying? I'm not teaching nobody to hate Africa. I ain't got no hatred for. Yeah, they eat rats and that shit funny. But at the end of the day, I ain't got nobody no hatred for them. I'm just trying to get you to understand what the Americas had. They always tell you what Africa got, but they don't want to tell you what took place in this land, and that's my job. You got all these African Pan-Africanists and all these people talking about Africa, and then you got the Tontonist one, and you got a couple of Aborigine researchers that's putting this information out there, that's giving you other perspectives to think. Okay? So it's saying the gold and silver that Columbus extracted from the Americas filled a 400% inflation that eroded the economies of 9 European nations and helped Europe to develop a global market system. Okay, Africans suffered a great economic blow. The trans-Saharan trade collapsed because America supplies more precious gems than Africa. Do you hear this shit? It says the transatlantic trade collapsed because America supplied more precious gems than Africa, than West Coast Africa. Africa traders now only had a one commodity that Europe wanted. It's saying slaves. Now I don't believe that. That's what they're saying, but we ain't gotta go into that. All right? Europeans motherfucking the United States ain't never go over there and grab no slaves. They tell the United States once after 1776, the United States wasn't even going to the Caribbean like that because the British had the Caribbean. If in 1776 it was about the United States getting their independence from Britain, then that would tell you what countries did the United States have in Africa? What countries did Britain have in Africa? You look up What countries Britain had in Africa, you look up what countries America had in Africa. You're going to find around 1776, even into the 1900s, that America never had no colonies in Africa. Never. Never. Find me one. Find me a colony that America went over there and colonized. They didn't. They just wanted the land here. They didn't have to go over there. They told you that the German and the Scottish built their own shit. Okay? All right. So let's continue. Let me see something. All right, let's read it. So Columbus didn't just not let religions get in the way of his profiting off slavery. He actually believed God embraced his slave business. On his third voyage, Columbus wrote during his return to Hispaniola in 1498. It said, "From here, one must send in the name of the Holy Trinity as many slaves as could be sold." People think the mounds were built by Indians or by ancestors of historically known Indian groups. This widely disregarded for a number of reasons, including early historical document hoaxes and the fact that Indians had no connection to the mound. Most of these Indian mounds moved to the Ohio Territory from further east only a few decades before, and therefore had no connections to the mound. After the United States government forcibly removed most of the remaining Indians from the East in the late 1820s. That's bullshit. They didn't remove most of them. They classified you, and most people stayed behind. They didn't forcibly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm reading this shit, and I know the history a little bit better. So it's saying, forcibly removed. It's saying East in the late 1820 and 1830. It said there was a few Indians around to correct the misunderstanding. The mound builder question became one of the most popular puzzles of the 19th century. Historically known, indigenous people know that as Indians of the East, okay, it's saying was occasionally found in the mound. Similarities in stone tools between Indians and mound builders existed. It was a common misperception. The Eastern Indians have been farmers. What the fuck they tell you was? The Eastern Indians have been farmers. The Eastern Indians have been farmers. How many times are we reading this shit, finding this shit? The farmers, the gardeners, okay? The farmers. You look up Google farmers. You're gonna find black people with that last name. Okay? Okay, so the East Indians was farmers, huh? Okay. Thank you. Like I said, Dan Calloway did a video on it about 2 weeks ago, talking about how they took the land from the farmers down there and wanted you. And what else did it say? It said took you away from your historic economics, which was farming. That's what it said. They said that European wanted to take you away from your historic. Now, like I said, hold up. Let's look up another source. Let's see if I can find another source on this real quick. Since I'm saying this shit, let me see something real quick. Still have it up. Close that shit out yesterday. Let me see, did I close that shit? Yeah, I think I did. Hold up. There it goes. What I did. This. Hold on for a second. Let me go back. Let me stop. I'm not sharing my screen right now, so let me go back and find what I'm looking for. Just give me a second, I'm looking for something. What the fuck is happening? I don't know, some weird shit happening. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Let me see something. Let me go back real quick. Wait a second. Still with y'all. Just give me a second, y'all. I can't find my fucking article, man. God damn. Nope, I can't find it. So I don't feel like I'm looking for it. But we already the last video I did, we read that and we already know what the fuck she said. Hold up, let me see something. Let me see. All right, hold up. Let me see. All right, here we go. I'm sorry, I couldn't find it, but I got the what's the name? I just couldn't find it in a second. Let me see. The same one I was reading the other day, man, when it was telling us about the primary agents in the U.S. government to make the Indians primary agents in making the Indians lose their heritage was the federal government. It's in that same passage right there. It tells you that the economics of the Eastern Indians was farmers as well, and they took the economics and wanted you to become sedentary farmers. All right. I'm sharing again. Back here. Let's go back here. All right, so like I said, it says right here. It says it was a common misperception. The Eastern Indians have not been farmers. And when Squirrel Davis combined it with the observation of the defense enclosures were most common along northern edges of the distribution of the Mount, they derived the conclusion that Indians had attacked the mound builders persistently from the north. All right. So the Yamasee is a dialect. It means the direct descendants of the Olmec through the Washita Moors. The Washita is a derivative of the term Wichita, who are known as Kitta-Kuttis, meaning raccoon eyes. Remember, they used to call black people coons because of the raccoon, because of the eye. It said this referred to as black Native Americans because of their black faces. Thus, the term coon was used to identify a black person. The Yamasee lived in Georgia on the Ocamechee River. Okay, where did they? Who lived on the Ocamechee? The Gitche, my dude. The Gitche lived on the Ocamechee River because this is where DeSantos say he found them at. Okay, it's where DeSantos said he found them at. The Yamasee lived in Georgia on the Ocamechee River near Macon. Oh, my father is from fucking Macon, Georgia. Near Macon, Georgia, on where the Yamasee Mound was discovered today. Macon is known as the home of Harriet Tubman African American Museum. The Yamasee is the mother tribe of the Creek, the Seminole. Look, The Yamasee is the mother tribe of the Creek, the Seminole, the Apache, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Catawba, and the Cherokees. Okay, now they also was the Gitchigola. Okay, what is this telling you? Who were the people who they enslaved? Okay, who were the people they enslaved? My father from Macon, Georgia. So, but you know, his family also, he also got family further out in the islands, in South Carolina and Georgia too. So I said, so DNA evidence. We just talked about that. I don't need to go on. All right, well, this is the conclusion. I'm going to conclude it with this. All right, let me see something. But it say it is famous, well known that Africans had the most genetic diversity of human population, arguably more than all other populations combined, from mtDNA Y lineage and more recent autosomal studies. It said there's a population structure Africa did not retain in the status is the ancestors of non-Africans left 75,000 years ago. The paper addressed some of the deepest questions about the African structure, since most Native Americans do not look like people from China, but most look like Kent people from Siberia who look African. It is easy to take for granted that Native Americans are more than a mix of Asiatic and indigenous people preset in America when they arrived 11,500 years ago. All right, so that's the end of that. These are some of the references you got right here. Mound building, first American, Christopher Columbus. Let me see something. Got some other sources too. So it's a bunch of sources. Lost Feather. I think it was some good stuff. I think some of the stuff, like, I think he should have summarized a little bit better to where he went at. Like I said, all of these people telling you the same thing, man. Even Patrick Means in the Kitchewa Society, he say the same thing. He makes it confusing. On one breath, you said that it was already millions of black people here, but then you keep saying African slaves. And you saying that they sending the people to Africa and to Europe, but we think it's on a small scale. When this nigga gets said, when he gets said tens of thousands, my dude. Okay, tens of thousands of people. So, like I said, man, I don't know what people want to hear. I don't know what you believe, what you don't believe. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, I put the information out there. And it's for your determination. If you believe you're African, then that's pretty much up to you at this point in time. You know what I'm saying? I believe a lot of us know who we are. That's why, like I said, in doing this documentary, you see individuals who know who the fuck they are. They're not telling you that they fucking African. They telling you that they ain't know nothing about Africa. But yeah, you got Pan-Africanists that's telling you along with these government agents. But that's why they tell you the CIA created the Pan-African. They're telling you. If we believe in all this, and if we believe all this insidious shit that they telling you that they did this shit, what you think they're going to do to try to cover it up or to keep on trying to delay or to have you believe that you're not these people? So at the end of the day, man, it is what it is, man. It's all home for me. So, no doubt. Definitely remember that. Support Coastal Freedom Hit, Coast of America, Black Indians, PayPal account, Cash App account, I'll put in the description, as well as my t-shirt spraying that. So I gotta get up out of here, man. I appreciate all you guys that came through. Hit the like button. Definitely appreciate you. Yeah, I fuck with high frequency radio. I fuck with USFL. Yusuf for years. You know, man, Jonah and Yusuf don't speak no more, but I fuck with them for years. So thanks, let go fear, like yeah. That great bill, political as usual on your channel, yeah. That's right, my brother Firewater. Appreciate you as well. Peter Pan Africans looking for Neverland. That's right. They look at that. That's the real truth of it. These niggas is lost, my dude. Sorry, like I feel bad for them. We know. You niggas is late. You niggas is late to the party. You niggas keep saying because you keep finding remnants of people who was programmed and injected the word African. You think because they using it that they was African. You don't even understand your motherfucking self. Most of these niggas who study because the people who you studying from don't even know this shit. So you studying from individuals who don't even know this shit and not telling you this. And you just completely ignore the Indian slavery and you completely think that, it was more Africans because they're telling you that. Who created that fucking story if they telling you tens of million Indians were sent over there? Who's telling you this story? So, I don't know, man. And just, hey, yo, do your research. Find out your culture, find out. I'm not going to sit there and tell you, yo, do your research. You might get. You are Indian. You are. If I'm just walking up to random people, they tell me I got Indian, and what's the chances that we all fucking lying that say we got Indian? What's the chances of us lying? Because you already been briefed by your family. As soon as someone told you, someone said, well, man, hold up, man. You know, I got Indian in my family too. The motherfuckers start like, yeah, I got me too. I was told that too. I was told, man, you know, they all said we had Indian. And these stupid niggas don't even know. They sit up there like, yeah, you know, they all said we had Indian, but that's not true. Why? Because you've been told you came from Africa. You took a DNA test that's not right and exact. That's why. So it is what it is. I definitely appreciate all y'all in the chat room, all the brothers and sisters that come through, everybody who support the content, as well as come through and support yourself. The main thing is supporting yourself with this information. That's the main thing. You know what I'm saying? The donations and everything, that comes secondary. Or that comes thirdary. You got to take care of your family and everything else. You know what I'm saying? You can support the Culture Freedom. That'll be wonderful. But for the most part, just support yourself, man. Go ahead, you know, do what you need to do to find your records and, you know what I'm saying, and find everything you need to find, man, at the end of the day, man, because, you know, this shit is serious. You got kids out here. Your kids need to know who they are. You understand? So with that being said, man, I'm out of here, man. Appreciate everybody, man. Appreciate everybody, man. All the brothers and sisters, North, South, Central America, the conjoining islands, all the brothers and sisters, man. Appreciate y'all, the brothers who do the research. Learn from everybody, man. I appreciate all y'all because we all learn, we all put parts of the puzzle and expose the puzzle and expose the lies that being presented. So with that being said, I am the time to this one. Peace to everybody. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.